Oh, and that's it. That's the only thing you can't surmise from that is that they have a pulse. You know, guys want to fight. Right now they have that me against the world mentality, and that's all good and that's all fine. But you have to admit, you can't say that some guys have quit, and some guys did quit those last 3 games. There were guys who were like, all right, and checked out. But they came back this game, had the opportunity to check out, had the opportunity to tap out, and turned around and turned it on. And, that's the difference between what you saw the last 3 weeks and this week. They decided that they weren't going to give up. And from that point on, they fought, man. And you didn't see that fight in the last 3 weeks that you saw this week.
You certainly didn't. We had a caller. Somebody asked me earlier: did Chip Kelly coach that game yesterday with some pressure? Did somebody say something to him that forced him virtually to change some things? Murray not getting the carries. Austin, you're not playing this week. Do you think that there was something discussed previous to that game that made Kelly make some tough choices?
Well, I think that he just got embarrassed. Because he got embarrassed, he wanted to go out there and show people, hey, I can still coach. I still can. The players I have are good enough to win. We just got to show you, and that's exactly what happened. It's not like this team doesn't have the athletes that they can compete. They just don't have enough good athletes to take it to the next level. I mean, they're good. Their defense is really good. They can be very, very good when they apply themselves. And I think this last week they applied themselves. They want to show everybody, look, this defense is good. And let's get this also clear. The defense played for themselves. The defense didn't feel as though they've been embarrassed the past couple of weeks, and they wanted to go out and show people, hey, we're still a good defense. It really had nothing to do with Chip Kelly or anything else. It was more so those guys took it upon themselves and said, look, we're better than we went out there and played. We're better than what people are giving us credit for. Let's go back and show the ball that we can do and pose our will on a limping New England Patriots team.
Okay, you played offensive line, Barrett. If you're an offensive lineman on this team, and I'm not suggesting that the Eagles' offense has held up their end of the bargain, but if you watch your defensive teammates yesterday put up that effort, do you walk up to them and say, well, where the hell was that the last couple of weeks? Because obviously they had it in them and yet didn't display it for 2 weeks. Aren't you angry?
No, because they haven't done anything either. You can't expect them to go out and play and you're not playing. I mean, I'll tell you what, the fact that Jason Peters played and he played in the game and stayed in the game spoke loud.
And by the way, he made an unbelievable block on that third down play.
Exactly. So him going out, and that's a play that I don't think necessarily Dennis Kelly could do. That's not a play Tobin could do. But him being the left tackle that he is and the good player that he is, yes, he can execute it. That wasn't an average play. That was a play that a good player could do. And he's a good player, so that's why the play worked.
Barrett, the running game yesterday, they went with more of Sproles and Barner over Murray. When Matthews comes back, how do you see Murray's role moving forward?
He'll get more of a role. They finally start to put the hot player in there and let him play, which will open up more plays for Ryan Matthews. If anything, Murray's reps should go down a little more. Matthews' reps should go up a little more. And, odd man out just has to be Barner. Even though he played well when given an opportunity, he's just not as good as Matthews or Sproles.
Barrett Brooks with us here, Breakfast on Broad. Of course, won the Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me ask you then, moving forward, I've always kind of surmised that anything you do up to Thanksgiving, that kind of establishes your resume in terms of mathematically, are you still alive? December football separates people. Did that game yesterday show you that this team needs to be taken seriously down the stretch they come?
No, it just shows a bad team that they went out there and performed as well. They performed this last Sunday. They played against a wounded New England team that had all of their weapons virtually gone. Mandela was the best Beaver out there on the field, so you can only go to the well so many times. Brady just didn't have enough ammo there to shoot his gun. That's the bottom line. If they had their key players like Gronk or Edelman in, then we'd be talking a whole different tune right now. So they caught this Patriots team at the right time and went out there and won. They were supposed to win this game. They were supposed to, simply because they didn't have the firepower to keep up with this team. Now, they also caught lightning in the bottle because their special teams, 2 key plays, and then the defense scored a touchdown. Offense really was okay, and but you could tell this team is hanging their hat on Sam Bradford. They believe in Sam Bradford. So when you have a team that believes in the quarterback and a defense that can play like that, you're always going to be in the game.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with what you're saying, Barrett. I can't buy into this team just yet, and I wrote this on Friday when and talked about it. Look, the Eagles had the opportunity to do this. They had 10 days off between games, and they caught a wounded Patriots team. I'm not saying they should win that game, but look, a team that wants to keep their season relevant needs to win that game. And I said on Thursday's show, Barrett, the team that wins the NFC East was going to have to pull off an upset, do something that no one expects from you. Does that qualify as a team now that, with that win, should be able to win this division, even if it only takes 7 wins?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Even though, and I got a lot of slack from fans on social media and on the radio yesterday for being pessimistic, and I don't feel as though I was pessimistic. I broke down the game, saw the inefficiencies, broke those down, but also did good. And what they did good was go out there and execute on special teams and on defense to win the game, period, point blank. They did that.
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing. That's what they did last year. Even though they didn't make the playoffs, they won 10 games, but 11 special teams and defensive touchdowns. When you're a middle-of-the-road team, you need those type of things to propel you one way or the other.
Well, you need the ball to bounce your way sometimes, and it bounced their way yesterday. A lot of those bounce. And don't take this from them also. They played hard. They didn't give up. That's a sign of a team licking their wounds for the last 3 games and going out there and playing hard. And, they could have bowed down and was like, all right, woe is me, when they were down 14 points going in, leaving out the first quarter. I'm like, they could have been like, all right, we're going to go through this again. But they continue to fight, and that's the biggest thing you can get from this victory. They showed some intestinal fortitude and kept fighting because they gave up the last 3 weeks. They kept fighting this game, and that's all you can ask from a team.
Barrett Brooks with us here. On defense, what was encouraging? I mean, about that effort and about, yes, Chip talked about the dominating play of Fletcher Cox. But overall, because, Alonzo, I thought had a tough day yesterday. Thurman, I thought had a tough day yesterday. But overall, what was encouraging to build off of that defensive effort going into December?
The fact that the rookie showed no sense of how he played last week and went out there and fought and played well. Had the proper techniques, cut the receivers off most of the time, was physical with them, went out there and played hard. He acted as though he didn't even play against Megatron the week before. That just shows the type of guy that he is. He's one of those type of players who's going to go out there and play hard and let the cards fall where they may. He had good technique. He pressed the receiver. And as a young receiver, a young DB, going against a receiver like that, you have to go out there and play physical, and that's what he did. They helped him out a little bit because they got ahead of him, and they had some too high safety looks, so they really couldn't pick on him as much as they wanted to. Brady went to him twice, and he stood up and made some plays. So he played well. That's a big, huge factor that they needed. They needed a corner to step up because Maxwell's not that guy. He might be the best cover guy they have right now. Him and Biggers is playing well.
I have said all season long I thought it was a crime, Barrett, that they didn't give Rowe a shot to get out on the field. I mean, the second-round pick, maybe – have you ever played with a guy, I'm sure you have, that just didn't practice well for whatever reason, but when the lights went on, he could play?
Oh, absolutely. I play like that with guys like that all the time, like Charlie Garner. He's a gamer. Charlie's a guy that, you go out there, if you sit on his helmet in practice, you wouldn't think he was doing anything. But, hey, once you turn them lights on, his big play Charlie. I play with a lot of guys like that, guys that just go out there and they're just gamers, And I like the fact that, sometimes, especially when you get older in your career, you're going to need those days off and still be able to go out there and perform. You need guys that can do that.
Yeah, and obviously – moving forward here, Rowe's going to get some more playing time. And, hey, you never know. Sometimes It is getting that opportunity when you least expect it that can help a team out, and maybe that's something that helps this team out. All right, Chip Kelly, what'd you think of him yesterday? Did he impress you the way he got this team to play? I mean, do you give him some credit for this team being able to pull that game out yesterday?
You know what? I do give him a lot of credit to be able to have those guys rally behind him, and not really necessarily rally behind him, but have those guys put in a position to execute the game plan. The fact that he showed some in-game decision-making as far as the running back position, sitting Murray down for the most part of the game, allowing Sproles and Barner to go out there because they had the hot hand. He wouldn't necessarily done that before, but he gave the ball to the guys that had the hot hand, and that shows some growth as far as with his coaching. He also protected his offensive line a lot better than he did before. He kept a tight end in. He kept a running back in. Those are things you need for your offensive line to give them a little confidence so they can block better.
Barrett, moving forward here, they're going to play Buffalo this week. They got LaShawn. It's going to be a emotional type of game, at least for McCoy coming back in. They got Arizona, and then 2 division games. I know we were talking earlier about the fact that it's hard to really put some trust in this team, but realistically, with a couple of home games and then 2 division games, do you find that this team kind of has the opportunity to grab this, on the field and not needing help from others?
Well, I mean, it's a weak division, so they have an opportunity. I think they're going to go in and playing against Shady. This defense is going to step up. And, it may put a little fire behind the running back on this team, showing that, all right, the guy that my predecessor is going to be out there on the field. So let me show him that, hey, it wasn't a waste that we got rid of him for me, and I'm ready to roll. So it might light a fire with those guys also. So I look forward to this game. It's going to be a really good game. There's a really good defense in Buffalo. The 2 Williams guys played, Mario Williams and I forget the other Williams, Kyle Williams, the defensive tackle, are very, very good players and pretty good linebackers. It's going to be a test for Sam Bradford to go out there and execute also.
All right, Barrett Brooks here on the Sports Bash 97.3 with Barrett's breakdown, as obviously the Eagles win the game. Murray, just 14 snaps yesterday. I think that's really sorry. But let me ask you about sitting Austin. While some people might not think that that's a big deal because he realistically hadn't been playing well, but I thought that at least finally said, look, your production is down. You're not helping us. You can be replaced. It might seem minor, but did that move signal something for you?
It showed me that, wow, he's finally starting to see his inefficiencies, that he didn't pick the right guy. Maybe he needs to go in a different direction or put a fire underneath this guy. He knows it's not all gravy. You need to do that sometimes. You need to show a player, hey, you're not more important than the team. Yes, I picked you up, but I don't care about being embarrassed. I'm going to sit you down so you see I'm that guy. In order for you to stay on this team, you're going to have to produce regardless. And I like the fact that he did that, gumption in doing that, and it worked out. He didn't even lit a fire under Cooper. Cooper went out there and performed yesterday. So you need that sometimes. You absolutely need that sometimes.
I agree. I think some people are discounting the impact of deactivating a guy who, he's not a great player, so it's kind of sideswiped like, who cares? It's not a great player. But the fact that they continue to put him out there in key spots and then just sat him with basically for a guy, Jonathan Krause, who no one had heard of, and basically I thought at least held some accountability for poor play. And look, if you're going to talk about anybody who had not been finishing plays, Austin just did not finish routes. It just was really a frustrating figure in all of these losses in the recent past.
Well, it showed on film. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. The lack of running routes hard, it finally caught up with him and bit him in the butt. So, Krause went out there and showed, hey, I can play this game. On special teams, he went out there and worked his butt off. When you have a guy like Austin, you want him to play if he's going to play the full gambit of what the Chip is asking him to do, and he wasn't doing that. A guy like Krause can play special teams and could run better routes than Miles Austin was doing. Of course, this guy should have gotten the nod and should have took until this game for it to happen. It should have happened way before now.
I agree. And Barrett, were you on the Hegeman team when that happened? Were you there for that?
Yes, I was. That was a travesty. I was right there, man. I couldn't believe it. he was even playing in front of me till they came to their senses. So,
but that's that play gets pointed out a lot in that era of that really set the tone that Andy meant business.
And it should have, you know what I mean? So, Chip, maybe he's learned a little bit, but he'll go. I mean, he's shown the ability to make adjustments every once in a while, and when he does, it's like a dramatic effect that happens that week, but then he always goes back to his norm. Let's hope he doesn't go back to his norm and allow guys to play like that. Hopefully he keeps that fire underneath him, and they go out and play better this week.
Barrett Brooks, everybody, and last night your Steelers, your Super Bowl winning Steelers, that's where Barrett won his Super Bowl. That offense looks like you talk about December football being so much different. That's a team that looked like stepped on the gas in December last night.
Oh, man, they looked great last night. There's some big, fast receivers, man. And the smallest guy of them all, Antonio Bryan is just a phenomenal player, man. He plays the game fast. He runs great routes. And he plays with a chip on his shoulder, man. So it was fun watching those play, fun at watching them execute. And, you saw guys like Bryan and those guys, make some plays, man. And it was good to see.
All right, Barrett, always a pleasure, my friend. And obviously we've got meaningful games still because I think if, even though mathematically they would have been still alive, I think you could have basically taken off the rest of the year if they would have lost yesterday. But, hey, they give you another meaningful week of football. That's always pleasurable.
My heart is still here until they rip it out, bro.
All right, my man. I'm looking forward to seeing Shady back here and obviously see what this game looks like on Sunday. We'll talk to you then.
Hey, can't wait.